Cool. Thanks, Josh. Hey, everybody. As Josh mentioned, my name is Jimmy Hamill, and I'm the manager of digital marketing here with Coldwell Banker. And today I get the lovely experience to talk to you about what is coming out next week, which is CBX version 3.0. Now, if you have any questions during this entire session, please feel free to enter them via the chat, and any and all of those will be handled all at the end. So let's dive in. What is CBX 3.0? Well, it is what you've been asking for. We took a good hard look at ourselves and said, what do we need to do next in CBX? We're giving them a tool that is just designed to win listings and is helping agents do that today. But what's next? So we took a good hard look at ourselves, and we also listened to some of the feedback that we got from you guys, the network, and determined it's right there in the name. We needed to create a full listing experience, and that's what we did. Reason being is one of the things I heard most back from you guys, the network, was, listen, I love CBX, but I don't know how to mix this with my current presentation. You know, it's hard for me to go from paper to iPad or from PowerPoint to a tablet, whatever it is. That's just not going to work. So what can we do? So we decided to come up with a listing experience, pretty much mirroring your listing presentation, but putting the same information in there a different way to give it an all-new look and feel. And before I can tell you or show you what that experience looks like, I need to talk to you about some of the new features and functionality that we have. We'll start with this, which is the listing assessment tool. This tool allows you to put comments in, take photos, and rate it with a 1 to 5 star for key features of the home that directly affect the marketability of the home, but maybe not the price. If you're like me, you look at houses online all the time, and when you see a beautiful picture of a living room, but the burnt out light bulbs in the ceiling just drive you mad. This is where you can put that information in to say, hey, listen, your house does look beautiful, but here's a couple things we can do to make it more marketable, to make people more excited to see it and really give it the best look that it can. And this is 7 fields where you can put in some notes about it, or a custom field. They include things like paint, flooring, lighting, appliances, etc. There is a custom field that you can put in whatever you want to show that, but it really sets you up to be able to explain to the seller what they can do to help during this process. And if you didn't know, research shows that's what a seller wants to hear. They want to know what they can do to help market their home, or to help sell it faster, or to sell it for more money. The next thing we have is fully editable slides. Slides that you can put in whatever information that you want. The company page just happens to be one of those, where you can put in your company stats, your philosophy. You can change the titles. Ultimately, that control is completely up to you on how you want to do it and what information that you want to share. Following that, we have all the pages, and you actually have the ability to pick and choose the pages that you want to display, giving you, again, that full control. You're used to this with CBX, where you are able to pick and choose the data points you want to use, but now you can pick and choose the pages or slides that you want to use, giving you that control to customize that presentation for each and every individual seller and property that you're going to look at. And taking it a step further, we thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had tooltips, but not your standard tooltip? These tooltips are more of best practices, and we have 3 different formats, whether it's text, audio, or video, to display that. And there's going to be a couple of these for the app, and we launch it next week. But our ultimate goal is to reach out to you, the network. We want to hear from agents all over the world and how they are using CBX and how they're using a particular page to win listings, giving you that ability to do so. And this is a great way that we can collaborate with our agents all across the country, pulling in best practices on how you're using certain things and sharing that information to really make this a powerful tool that everybody can use, but everybody can also learn from each other. And it's nice to be featured in an app every now and then. Now, picking your slides wasn't enough. We also give you the ability to put them in any order that you want. Knowing that if I lined up 10 of you, you're all going to give me a similar listing presentation, but it's going to be each tailored the way that you're used to doing it, and we want you to have that ability. If you want to move things around, put it in whatever order, use the pages that you want, giving you that full control to deliver the listing presentation or experience that you want to deliver that allows you to win listings and set yourself up to be differentiated great success. And then finally, the export. Let's just talk about it. Let's do it. The export today, it's a little bit ugly. You know, sometimes you got to when you take that good hard look at yourself, you got to see where you're not doing as well. And ours was the export. We kept putting out builds and updating CBX and making it better. And every time we went to do the export, we did something else. And the export just kept getting bumped further and further and further back. So as part of this, we said, hey, we need to make sure the export is one of the things that we're updating. And it is. You still have the ability to export the entire thing. However, we have killed off the individual JPEGs. I know it shows it there on the screen. Just pretend that's not there. This is just the design. But we will only support PDF. But we've taken the PDF and flipped it to a landscape format. That matches better within the app. Again, still the ability to pick and choose the pages that you want to export, that full control. So maybe you only want to send a couple pages as a pre-listing tool, or only want to send a couple pages as a post-listing tool. Still 100% up to you on what you want to export. It does take a little bit of time. The iPads are pretty quick, but the Surface and Android, through our testing, we've seen it can take a couple minutes if you're exporting the entire presentation. Reason being is it is pulling in a lot of information, and it has to put that all into that PDF. It can take about 2 minutes or so, sometimes a little more if you have every single page selected. And again, that timing is a little bit longer on the Android and the Surface. But the export looks exactly like it does in the app. It is the exact same experience except for the interactive piece. Once I figure out how to make Paper interactive, don't worry, you guys will get it. I'll be retired in Malibu doing something crazy because I'm going to make a fortune on that. But hey, when we get there, we'll get there. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what that experience overall is going to look like. Well, it starts with a beautiful image of the home. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a fantastic image, but I don't want to show that. That's not what the houses look like in my area. Guess what? You are doing the same thing you're doing today with CBX. You're taking a picture as you're walking up to the front door, or if you've already walked the property. That image will be substituted in, and it will display that home. This way, when you're going on that listing presentation, you're showing them their house. 100% tailored to each and every individual prospective seller. Really setting it up to say, hey, listen, I take time to put my presentations together and really show you the detail that I put into not just trying to gain your trust, but when you're listing. And something you should know is hopefully you've heard of a program called Launch. That is a great way for new agents and agents to learn and to use to go and win listings. We're following that exact same path, and that path goes where you're going to start by building rapport. And we do that with CBX by allowing you to pull in your agent profile automatically. We don't want you to have to fill it out twice and all over the place. Nope. Whatever's on callbanker.com gets automatically pulled in here. So while you're building that rapport, you can explain your expertise or your qualifications or the specialty markets that you handle, any awards you've won, or talk about yourself and the things you do in your community and how so many people know you and you're doing just such great things. And as part of building that rapport, you can then show them another new feature we have, which is the My Listings. This section allows you to show all of the listings that you currently have on that market. The map will zoom out as far as it needs to show every single listing that you have. And because it's CBX, it's interactive. So they can click around and see the different houses that you currently have on the market. Really setting this up to be that experience and not just a presentation which they're used to seeing from your competition. Then we get into the company page. Again, everything on the right hand side of the screen you can put in so that it's any information that you want. To the left is automatically pulled in so you don't have to fill it out twice. We don't want you to do that. And the great part about it is pages like this, the company page, things like that. You can actually save the content that you put in there as default. This way, it's only displaying the stuff that you want to see, but you don't have to fill that out every single time. Maybe you make a minor update or a minor tweak here and there, but it will save that content after you hit save as default, and it will be in all of your new presentations moving forward. Then, because we're trying to build that trust, we know that you want to talk about some of our quotables and some of our information. And we didn't just want to deliver that in the same way that you're used to. We know from our research that we've done across the network that you guys love our quotables, love the information used in home search. So we want to deliver that to you, but in a new way. So we came up with these animations to show. The first one here is the information used in home search. So that you can have a conversation about how you know people are starting online. And you talk to them about where their property is going to be syndicated to and how it'll have a great online presence. But then you can point out the number 2 thing, real estate agent. That is you. That's you guys and how important you are and what you're going to do for them and why it's so important that they need to work with you to list their home instead of trying to possibly do a for sale by owner. And then because we thought one of these was cool, we did 2. And this one might be my favorite, where you are showing that we are a dominant force in real estate and how connected the brand is in 47 countries with 3,000 offices, 110 years leading. Having that conversation about the brand that's behind you and why it's so important that they list with Coldwell Banker. What we're doing, we have a network of 84,000 agents. Maybe they're relocating. You can connect with those folks all over the world, really setting this up to be a great experience. Then you get into the buyer profile. And as part of launch, you're going to want to build trust. And now you start to build that trust by bringing in big data to back up what you already know, explaining you know who the buyer is and where they're coming from. Best part about it is you're used to using this slide. However, we just gave it an updated look and feel. We have some great ghosted imagery in the background, really setting this up to be an elegant presentation that's also bold all at the same time. The buyer profile can still be fully mapped. It gets laid out there, ready for you to see. The difference is we got rid of all the tabs on top. The reason being is you're going to use the arrows on the right and left side to get from page to page. Now you're probably thinking, why don't we just use the swipe functionality? And that's because we can't, because CBX is interactive, and if you swipe on a certain screen, you'll move the map. You'll zoom in, you'll zoom out. That's why we put those arrows there as the navigation. But it makes this a dynamic experience, allowing you to have that conversation, having pages that are interactive. You can click on any one of these icons, and you'll get that percentage match. Really setting it up for a presentation that's like nothing else they've seen before. Then you can show them the neighborhood segmentation map. Again, continuing that conversation, building that trust, saying these are the areas I'm going to target market, and explain why, having that conversation with them. You then get into the CB Intelligence section. Again, this section is updated with some ghosted imagery in the background, a great look and feel. Control, still in your court. You pick and choose the data points that you want to show and have during those conversations. Then you get into the different heat maps. Again, you can zoom in on these, you can zoom out, you can show them how it compares to different areas. One thing to note is you can only zoom in so far and then it won't bring the color in anymore, so don't go super duper close with the zoom when you're going in, but you can zoom in and out a little bit to show them. Maybe it's households changing hands. You want to show how the people in their area aren't moving as much or aren't relocating as much as people towards the New York City area. However that works for your county and having that conversation. Then you get into the marketing activity slide. Again, here is another page where you have full control of what you want to put in, putting in any and all information that you're going to do. And the great part about it is this is another slide where you can set content as default. On top of that, we have it broken up into 2 columns. And you can toggle on and off that second column altogether. Maybe that's what you want to do when you're putting in for those higher priced properties, that you're going to do a 3D Matterport, or you'll do virtual tours, or you'll get drone footage, whatever that may be. Really setting it up so you can put all that information in. You can save it and then go back through on your next listing presentation or listing appointment and create this experience and tailor it custom for every single listing, but making it as easy as possible and really great. The other thing is, we'll put some default text in here for you. Maybe you want to use what we've put in there. Maybe what we've put in there is exactly what you're doing. Or maybe you want to take some of that out and you're going to change that up a bit. That control's fully up to you to put together your full marketing activities list that you're going to do for this prospective property and this prospective seller. You then can talk about Coldwell Banker on the web. The great part about this is that this ties into that piece earlier where you can explain. Remember I said that people are starting their real estate search online. Look at our online presence. We've had 20 million YouTube views. Now, don't worry. It says 2015. This is just the design. In the new version that's coming out next week, we have all the updated 2016 numbers, quotables, information, etc. It's all there as up to date as possible. And the cool thing we're doing on this page is on the bottom left corner, you can actually toggle on and off those places that we syndicate to. This is the ones that are all the options that you have with being part of Coldwell Banker, but we know some of you don't syndicate to all these places, and that's 100% okay. You can actually just pick and choose the ones from the list that we have that you do syndicate to. And then you can turn on luxury as a program, whether it meets that threshold or not, and it's going to get that additional exposure to things like Rappaport, Wall Street Journal, Unique Homes, or the New York Times, really setting it up to explain everything you're doing for that particular property. Then we come here, and again, tying back into launch. Hopefully know that during launch there is a pause slide. That slide is when you're having the conversation with the seller, and it goes something like this. So you would agree that based on my expertise, my qualifications, the buyer profile, who the buyers are, where they're coming from, and the marketing plan that I've put together for your home, that as long as we can agree on price, I'm the right person to list your home. Now, hopefully they say yes, you hit the arrow on the right, and you keep going to price. But maybe they have an objection or two. This is where you can handle all of those objections, getting those out of the way so that the only thing you have left is to agree on price. And the cool thing about it is we didn't want to be like PowerPoint or Keynote. We wanted this to be dynamic. So as part of that, maybe you need the buyer profile at your disposal to answer some of those objections. And you can actually click on that on the bottom, and it'll pull up the buyer profile, bringing that information in so you can tie back to it real quickly to say, yes, I understand that you're worried about, us finding the buyers. But as I mentioned, I know the top 3 areas that are moving into your county besides target marketing in your county. As you know, a lot of people are staying in this same county. We're going to target your county, but we're also going to focus on these other areas as well. Handling those objections right there on the spot. Or maybe you need to see the intelligence section to tell them something else. Both of those at your disposal to be used, if needed, to handle any of those objections. And then, when you're done, you can get into the price part. And you'll start with the comps. Or maybe you move this around and you start a different one. Again, the comps are the ones you're picking, the same way we're doing it today. The for sale and for rent match we have on ColdwellBanker.com. All the Coldwell Banker listings, the Real G Sister listings, ERA, Better Homes and Gardens, Century 21, etc. And then anything we're getting via the REN network. That's the RE/MAX, the Berkshire Hathaway, the mom and pop shops in your local area. Because we're Coldwell Banker and we're allowed to display those properties, we pull them into CBX so you can use them as the comps. Now, today, you already have the ability to put in a custom comp, just in case you need a comp that is in your MLS but we're not getting it. Or it's a recently sold property that's more than 6 months old because the recently sold we get from onboard and they're recently sold in the last 6 months. You can add that custom comp. But we wanted to take it a step further. And we did this for 2 reasons. One, because it helps you tell a story. And 2, you'll see next. But we now give you the ability to put in did not sells. Really having that conversation about price and explaining why it's so important. Maybe people are pricing things a little out of whack, and that's causing them not to sell. And that's where your expertise comes in. So we want you to be able to display that. And we also updated the colors, and that's because of a little thing called, the competitive price line generator. Hopefully you guys have heard of this tool. It's available today via CB Exchange, and it's a fantastic tool. One problem I have with that tool is you have to manually put in every single address. And, I just don't like working that hard. So, what we've done is we've built the competitive price line generator into CBX as well. But it automatically pulls in the prices from the comps you've selected, laying them out like this, making it a very easy conversation. There's a lot of psychology behind this. Everybody knows red is bad, green is good. Our did not sells come through in red. Maybe it allows you to talk down that person that thought their house was priced at $550,000 when really that's not going to sell. And if we can get it below that 480 mark, we should definitely have a really good chance at selling it because that's what happened previously and that's what they're looking at. Again, having those tough conversations, but giving you the tools to display it a different way and put it in a way that really just makes sense for them. Do you want to be in this area that's red, that we still haven't sold these houses? or do you want to be in these greens where those people are gone, moved on to their next thing, and they got the money on the way out the door? Then you can bring them into the home assessment piece. Again, stating, I know you guys want to know what you can do to help sell this home faster. Here's what we can do. The kitchen, we're going to need a fresh coat of paint. Okay, the ceiling, it's looking a little rough. I get it. You guys cook all the time, but the oil stains on the ceiling, let's get those cleaned up. The light bulbs in the dining room, again, put in those fresh ones. This way when the photographer comes and takes all the pictures, they look perfect, and you're ready to go. And you're having that conversation and showing them. Or maybe it's things that are perfect, like, hey, the curb appeal of your house is fantastic. You guys are maintaining the lawn very well. Everything's trimmed up. Everything looks great. Ready to go, and giving them that information. Having both those tough conversations and those easy conversations, but pointing out all that right information. And then finally, you land on the price. And again, the picture you take of the home will be the one that's subbed in there. If you're worried about the clarity of the picture, understand that most of these new tablets, no, that's a lie, all of these newer tablets have fantastic cameras on. I have an iPad Gen, I think it's 3 at this point, who can keep up with all the stuff they're pumping out. And it takes just fantastic pictures. You can screenshot your screenshots from the high res. It's really great. But look at this. There's a house ghosted in the background behind that blue bar where you're displaying the price. Tell me another presentation where you take one picture, it gets subbed into all these places and just looks great. And again, all your adjustments that you make for the house will be displayed there, allowing you to have that conversation about why you believe it should be in that specific range. And then you can finally close out. And even this one, behind that blue, would be their house. Right there, ready to go. That is the experience. Again, you've heard me mention it is coming out next week. Just a couple more quick things is one is there is a fully editable slide. You can put in whatever you want. It supports text. It supports video. It supports image. Whatever. Maybe you want to put in more information about your marketing strategies here. And you want to show them a video you did of your old home. Or maybe you want to show them a screenshot of what you're doing on Facebook advertising. Whatever that is, full control, up to you. Pick and choose what you want to put in here. Put that slide wherever you need it. And then because we thought those 2 animations were really cool, we said, hey, let's build a third one. And we did this for luxury. So anytime you have one of those luxury properties and you want to tout about Coldwell Banker Global Luxury and how phenomenal of a program it is and how you're a certified agent and how we've done an average of $129.6 million a day last year, you can do that. And hopefully you see that screen. You know, this was a picture of a beautiful home theater, and we thought, what's cooler than a home theater? Nothing. I'm dying to have one. My wife keeps saying no. Then putting that video on a loop in the background playing, and hopefully you saw that there. That'll play on a loop constantly. As long as you're on that page, that will still show up. This is all. Oh, and one last thing. If you needed to get to a slide very quickly, you can tap on that little arrow on the top. It'll give you this drop down, and then you can slide to any page. Again, when you're trying to get to these things, it's a tap, not a swipe, and that's just because everything on ours is interactive and different. This is all coming out next week. We are submitting to the respective stores for approval later today. Once they're approved, they will be in the App Store. You will continue to see our communications coming out knowing that, hey, this is here, ready to go. You've heard me talk a lot. I know we got a couple of questions coming through in the chat. So, Josh, I will turn it back over to you to start going through those questions.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Jimmy. All right, guys.
And one thing I forgot to mention. For anybody who's on this saying, I love CBX, but I don't have a tablet, what am I going to do? I don't really want to spend a ton of money. I really wish they would just build it so I could get to it on my desktop. Well, I'm here to say that we are doing that. In the middle of the summer, we will be putting out a web browser version of CBX that can be used on anything. We're working on that now. Give us about, middle of summer, and then that should be out. So, Josh, sorry to cut you off. Had to make sure I didn't forget that.
No, of course, that's a fantastic extra feature, so everybody will be looking out for that. So, Jimmy, I had a question from Judy asking, will the agents have the ability to add any office listings, seeing as some newer agents may not have any listings?
Oh, great question. Can't believe I forgot to touch on that. So, yes, When you're on that My Listings page, you have the ability to toggle on and off the office listings. This way, if your inventory is low, or you're new, or you just want to show that your office has a 95% market share because you're the best office in that area, you can toggle on that office listing and it'll just populate with a massive amount of blue dots that can all be clicked on to show how dominant your office is.
Perfect. We have a question from Tim asking, is the fully custom slide repeatable or only on a single slide?
Sure, great question. For launch, we're only going to have one, but we are working to see what we can do to either add more of those or if there's different formats we want to put in. So for launch, we're going to start with one, then we're going to take the feedback of the network and see where we want to go next.
Perfect. And will eventually, when the web browser version is available, will it work on phones?
Also a great question. So it will work on phones because we're going to design it so it's responsive. However, it probably will not be the best experience because as big as phones are getting, they're still not big enough to display something like this where there's a ton of information. But what we have in our heads as kind of the perfect thing would be you walk in with a Chromecast if you're on an Android device or an Apple TV, you plug it into somebody's TV because so many people have smart TVs now with a USB drive on them, and all of a sudden you change that kitchen table conversation to a family room couch conversation, and then you're presenting right there from your phone going through it. You don't even bring in an iPad. That's kind of where we see it going. There will be a mobile version, but it probably will not be the best user experience, especially for trying to edit some of this stuff.
Great, that's great information. We have a question asking, is there a way to add any of the Coldwell Banker commercials, maybe a link from YouTube?
The commercials, like our ad campaign?
Correct.
Oh, absolutely. On that fully editable slide, we fully support video, so you could grab one of those YouTube URLs, drop it right in there, and then put whatever text you wanted to go on around that to show that. Maybe you want to have a conversation saying, listen, I work with a brand that we have all these visits on YouTube and things like that, and the reason is because we're well connected. And you've probably seen our commercials, but I just wanted to show you one so that you can actually see it to see what we're doing. And the cool part about those is when you hit play, it plays right there on that page, and it even plays the sound and the audio with it. So it's just a really cool experience.